Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast presented by SellerAmp. As always, today we're joined with Emily from CrazyFlippinMom. We're going to talk about how she's able to help tons of people make side income reselling as well as do it herself on a variety of platforms. Thanks for joining us, Emily.
Thank you guys for having me. It's great to be here. Nice to meet you guys.
Absolutely. So we originally connected about a year ago, and we're glad we can make it happen now. We're all still doing great things and everything like that. But we were talking off camera just about how you kind of got going with everything, what you're up to now. But you kind of want to fill the audience in who might not be familiar with you on, who you are, what you do, and then we'll go into kind of your story and how you got started.
Sure. I am Emily, CrazyFlippinMom on social media. And I currently sell across many platforms. Any platform that could make me money, I would probably sell on it. Currently, that is Amazon, Walmart, and eBay, Facebook Marketplace. I also run the CrazyFlippinMom community that focuses on e-commerce selling, creating income, primarily on Amazon. Side would be the Walmart platform. But I have been married to my husband for 15 years. He works with me. And we have 4 kids living in Iowa. Hopefully it doesn't snow again, drinking way too much coffee. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
So how did you get going? How did you build up with Amazon? Was it something that you saw on social media, something you were kind of mentioned to start doing? How did you get going?
It was definitely out of a need to create income, probably 5-ish years ago. And I didn't know anybody selling anything online, not one person. And actually I went to Goodwill, out of necessity when you have 4 kids and very low income, right? You're like, okay, let's find some clothes. And I was shocked. Like the only time I had been to Goodwill, well, actually, I don't know if I'd really been. I saw on Napoleon Dynamite though, when he went to Goodwill, what that looked like. And that was just it. Like, that's what I thought. Terrible, but that's what I thought. So when I went there, I was shocked. Like all of the new stuff, good stuff. My kids were in Under Armour, Nike. And that's when I was like, I think I could sell this, make some money. I didn't tell anybody. And actually I started the Crazy Flippin' Instagram, which was just my name, because I was like so ashamed almost that I needed income. And also I thought it might be illegal because I didn't know anybody selling, but we really needed the money. So that's how I got started. And that first month I was just selling our stuff. Like I was hooked. As soon as I sold my first thing, I just started listing everything. I think I made like $4,000 on Poshmark that month. And I was like, I'm going to be rich. It really opened the door. And so then I went on social media and looked up reseller. And I followed everybody who posted that tag. And that was years ago. And before that, I had sold on eBay. Like you sell your phones when you're done using it, your college textbooks and stuff. But really realizing I'm so thankful for a community on social media who shows what's possible. Because at that point, me thinking it's somehow illegal or something, but then seeing other people supporting their family successfully was eye-opening. So I did reselling, like in it, I had 1,000 listings up fairly soon, cross-listing between everything. And then I opened an Amazon store because that's just like reselling is the gateway drug to Amazon, and very back burner for a couple of years. And then I just couldn't figure out how to do it. And honestly, when I first started Amazon, I completely failed, had to recall all my product. And I was like, I'll never do this again. But everybody talking about Amazon, like I didn't have the income and I just didn't understand anything about it. You know, like most people starting Amazon, you just fill a box of crap and send it in. And this was pre-COVID. So merchant was not talked about at all. So at that point I was like, I'm never doing this again. So when I started kind of like following people like Thrifted Travel on social media, showing discontinued, selling very niche products, and that made more sense to me. It was a higher ROI, and I was already kind of like in that vein with clothes, vintage. And so I kind of took another run at it. And as soon as I figured out the merchant, I did primarily merchant selling, which is where you send the product straight to the customer for several years. Because again, it's a lower risk, faster return. So I did that for several years. And yeah, I just started sharing my own journey on social media. And then 2.5 years ago, CrazyFlippinMom community was born. And now we help other people get their start at selling.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like you were pretty lucky in a way that Garrett and I think we're very lucky as well, in that you kind of liked selling stuff and were able to make money from it. And I think a lot of people listening to this have either realized that or have the chance to realize it once they really dive into it. You know, I think we're all, and I might be wrong in saying this, but like it's a pretty neat thing to be able to have that like those two mashed together, and that you really liked it because you got going quick with it. And so you were making money quick in a way that most people aren't, but you were lucky to both like it too. And when you like something, it makes it a lot easier to do it more, which makes you better at it, which makes you like it more and everything. Am I right in saying that?
Definitely. And I will say, I talk to a lot of frustrated Amazon sellers, and they're typically taking a course in a community, are trying to do Amazon in a very unnatural way. And so it's just like with me, it's just like hitting your head against a wall. I was like, everyone was selling books on Amazon when I started researching. I hated it. But I was like, this is the way to make money. And so typically I'm talking to people like, stop trying to do Amazon in a way that's not like, you don't know electronics. Stop trying to do Game Boys or game, whatever it is. I don't even know. Stop it.
And so what was did you see a hole in the community, right? When you wanted to build out the community with Crazy Flippin' Mom, was it that you didn't really see it being done well in the space, or you just thought you could add value in doing that?
It was being done very well. I mean, now it's like anything, anywhere, the information is available. But when I started, nobody was talking about merchant. And in fact, when I came back to Amazon, I said on social media, because my life is an open book, I'm going to do this, but I have to sell merchant in case it doesn't sell. I'm not taking this big risk. And people were like, you're not going to make any money. Like there was just no information. And definitely I got in at a very interesting time with quarantine and shutdowns and things. Like merchant was it. So that made all the difference in the world. But previous to that, yeah, it was a little bit different. And there wasn't a lot of people talking about merchant, talking about how to go about this low risk. I sell primarily groceries. It's a very unattractive, replenishable kind of boring field. And, if you get on social media, sometimes it's not the flashy numbers that people are thinking they're going to get. So it's all, but I do think there's a lot of content already in the community.
A lot of people hate on grocery, but those no returns, it really is the
You
benefit.
can go lower ROI.
So give us the breakdown of how the operation works nowadays. You say you work with your husband. What sorts of, is it all FBA? Is it all merchant fulfillment? Now, how are you guys sourcing? Give us a breakdown.
Yeah. And actually it was funny because he was in a job, he worked for himself, and I was flipping pools at the time, in like pools, pool filters, pool toys, everything, making thousands of dollars a day, like loving life. And he went to work one day and he came home and his car was full of, we live in the Midwest. And so you have Menards here, which is the gem. I feel bad for anybody who doesn't live in the Midwest and doesn't have a Menards. And he was like, I'm going to go to work today and make a couple $100, or I could help you and we could combine forces. And he like quit his job fairly soon after that. And so, yeah, he helps me run operations the day to day. Like I said, we have 4 kids. So our type of lifestyle with selling looks drastically different. I am on this turtle slow scale path because my kids eat us out of house and home every month. There's no talk about like dumping all of our profits back in. It just looks a lot different. And I appreciate a partner who supports this crazy lifestyle. But as far as our day-to-day, primarily focused on online arbitrage right now. And I have a couple people who help me out and they can go pick up orders. Like I said, we are on Amazon. We sell on Walmart seasonally because if you are on Walmart, the situation over there is dire, like as far as dealing with customers, dealing with a terrible platform. And so I'm selling there when it's good to sell, which is around holidays. Otherwise, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to be there. I don't want to talk to anybody. Customers regularly call me on Walmart, call my cell phone. We figured it out, but it's a hot mess. So day to day, we source. I do a ton of research, and then we in the Crazy Flippin' Mom app, we do a lot of content. We talk to people. We do calls, education, that sort of thing.
Sweet.
So you bring up Walmart, and I think that's sort of like the big question mark, the big unknowns, right? Everyone's comfortable with Amazon. Everyone knows Amazon, but there's this Walmart thing that no one really knows about. No one really knows how good it is or what the potential is. So for all of us who, and myself included, have an experience with Walmart, what does it actually look like? What are the similarities? What are the differences? Is it really that kind of wild, wild west? Is it like Amazon 4 or 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah. And it's part of me is like, should I tell people how awesome it is? Because then everybody's going to sell over there. But actually, yes, there's loads of opportunity. Typically, when I'm selling there, I'm the only seller. It's a name your price situation. It is a cluster though. So you have to go into it thinking loads of opportunity because it is Amazon years ago. Low competition. So for instance, I really started focusing on Amazon in last year coming into Q4, and I think in 30 days we did 60,000 in sales there, all merchant, all me putting it in the mail myself. Like wild potential, but hand in hand are the confused sellers, because I think Amazon buyers are younger. They understand technology, they understand the platform, it's been around longer. Whereas Walmart, it's an older clientele. They do not understand online buying. I would get calls regularly from somebody's grandma in the South who were like, why are these Nutter Butters at my door? Like, so it's hand in hand, tons of returns, and people would just bring stuff back to the store and then Walmart would ship it back to me. Is like, what is happening here? Like loads and loads. But if you looked at my returns versus my sales, it made sense. It wasn't astronomical. The opportunity was still there. I'm so glad I did it. But yeah, it is the Wild West. Crazy potential because it's a lot of it's unregulated. Make crazy bundles, sell whatever you want. If you can't sell Legos on Amazon, sell Legos on Walmart. It's crazy, but if you don't mind with all the extra hassle. And I think currently, like yesterday, Walmart rolled out a new program to like connect their shipping and their sales. So that was a huge thing too. I made 60,000 in sales and I had to put all the shipping for that on a credit card because it happens so fast. So like in Amazon space, we're not used to that, like coming straight from our bank account, and it got crazy real fast. Like did not expect that, was not prepared for that. So things like that, when you have $20,000 in stamps.com or whatever it is for shipping, it gets really weird. People think you're a scam artist. People start calling like, why are you buying all these? It's crazy, but every story is a long story for me, but go sell on Walmart.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. You heard her with that. So what was your first big flip, whether it be an item from Goodwill that you bought for $1 sold for 200 or a certain quantity of something? Like what was the first big win that really opened your eyes?
When I was just reselling, I was posting all of our clothes, and I will say Poshmark like 4 years ago looks a lot different now. Like now it's huge. Platform's huge. There's companies, there's brands. Back then it was very organic. Like you posted something, somebody was going to find it relatively quickly. And I would post our clothes and sell them all like same day. I can't think of one thing. I will say probably on my birthday several years ago when I was selling, I found like a Gucci or something really crazy at the thrift store. And that was awesome. But I just did a lot of volume. Like I understood the volume numbers really quick, which I think that's why Amazon came so naturally to me, is like more ASINs, more movement every day, more sales. It may be less return, but you're doing more. It made sense. I think on Amazon, I like looking back, I think we started with weights, which is just stupid, but a lot of times there's opportunity in products that nobody else wants to sell. Weights were a big deal though then. So I'm not saying there's opportunity.
This is during COVID. Yeah, that's one of the hot bolos.
We broke our suspension in our truck because I was hauling so much weight. I moved weights crazy. That was probably a big one for us, a big flip, but I never want to do that again. Like just hundreds of weights every day up and down our steps because I was shipping out of our basement. That was crazy. Never want to go back there. Now I'm like kind of living a plush life, like online, come to me. That's my lifestyle now.
Did you do pools or chlorine back in the day?
I did. If you think of it, I sold it for sure. We did tons of chlorine. We actually, so it was like summer, we loaded our kids up and we did a tour of the Midwest and like hundreds of packs of chlorine. Not as much the bigger pools, a lot of the small pools, all around all the pool stuff, you know, it was like chlorine, what was like bubbles. I'm trying to think of the yeast, like bread yeast was crazy for a while.
Yeah.
I don't
Who
know
was
if you
that? Oh,
guys
Dan
remember
talks
that.
about
That
yeast.
was
Dan
dude,
was
that's a
Dan.
crazy coincidence. I was listening to the video he did with Fast Track yesterday, and he was talking about that. That's crazy after not talking about that for a year. It comes up twice in 24 hours.
There was
Um,
and it was a learning curve because, you know, you were doing these really crazy high returns, hot cocoa bombs and dealing with angry customers, like hand in hand. If you're doing a really crazy niche, limited shortage, high return, sorry, my dog just found me. You're going to deal with angry customers too. So, you know, you learn it all.
Got you. And so after having been in the space for a few years, what are some of the differences you see between people who really end up being successful with reselling, whether that be creating the side income they want to or doing it full time, and those who it doesn't really end up working out for?
Consistency, definitely. I think in the resale world, you can get on Facebook Marketplace, and I talk a lot about like you need grocery money by Friday. Here's what you can sell on Marketplace today. And I love that quick money. And people have that idea when they come to Amazon, it's going to be quick money, and it's really not. And the returns from selling something on eBay to Amazon, you're getting your money back, and you're probably making more money on eBay versus an Amazon. And so I think people get into it and they think in 3 weeks they're in, you know, they're making the money. And then, you know, I'm on year 3, 4, learning so much year over year, you know, like last Q4, like, oh my God, my takeaway was crazy. So I think just not thinking Amazon is a long game. It's learning a new language, and you're not going to learn it in 3 weeks. You're going to lose a lot of money, probably, you know, making mistakes, and consistency. Keep on. Like after year 1, you learn, your takeaway is crazy. After year 3, even crazier.
And looking forward, do you have any drastic shifts in mind with the Amazon space, whether it be wholesale, whether it be maybe delegating and bringing on more VAs or a prep center?
I probably will always be a small seller, like quote, like small in the scope of Amazon, low risk seller. I'm not here probably really like long-term Amazon. Amazon is funding my daydreams, like my vacations, what I actually want to do, which is educating women, providing resources to make more money, extra money, side hustle money. And so I like Amazon's fit in my life, which is it really does fund. It pays for everything at our house. It pays our mortgage, pays our propane bill, pays our groceries. And like, I think that's important when you get into Amazon, you get this like always harder, faster, more like from social media. And I got stuck in that for a while. I always felt like I needed to be doing more. And then I realized, and this is what Amazon is going to be in my life. It's going to fund my daydreams. So really not any different. I think if you are getting into Amazon or looking to do something different, I think finding a niche is really important. Finding something and really understanding it. For me, that's groceries. And I would say for a lot of moms, anybody shopping, you're in the grocery section a lot. Like start being aware of your surroundings. But I think at one point you could just sell a lot of stuff across different categories. And I think it's in a lot of our interest, like in the small seller space on Amazon, is to niche down, to really understand your category, understand what you're buying, understand what you're flipping, find better connections. That would probably be a big one. I am all about the small and light program right now because I do groceries. So the name of the game for me is niche in grocery, find connections. Anything that could go in small and light is a big win.
Yeah, and so that's like the kind of thing for those of you guys who might not be sure. Small and Light's basically a program Amazon had like fairly recently, as of a couple years ago, I think, where it's
Yeah.
like under $12. You make more selling an item for under 12 rather than like
Then you like,
$12.05. Yeah, or like
well, even up to like 13, like
yeah,
12.99, 13, and they keep raising it. It started, I think it
Yeah.
started at like $9.
then it was
Then they
10.
raised it to 10.
Now it's 12.
Then now they raised it. I don't think they did 12 or 11, but now it's at 12. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what kind of got you doing the Instagram stuff too? Because I know you've been like really consistent over several years. I think I have too, and it's been really, really beneficial with that. So what inspired you to get on there?
Honestly, I didn't know anyone selling, at the beginning, 5-6 years ago when I started. I'm so off on my time frames. Years ago, when I started selling, I really wanted to connect with new people. I think also, because of where I was at in life, I was super lonely at home with my kids. I liked being a mom, but and then it happened where everyone was at home, right? So it was a way for us all to connect. But I'm an open book. I am like classic overshare, and so it just fits. I don't mind if people say something mean about me. I just keep coming back for more. And so it just made sense. Now I have people I known for like, they're like family. 5 years we go on vacations together.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's amazing. Yeah.
It is. We do meetups, and it's like we just met online. Like I went to San Francisco a couple weeks ago, was at somebody's house. We met online. So I love this space. I love the reseller community. My takeaway here has been, when I say life-changing, really life-changing, like just having a connection with people really helped me out in a dark time in my life. So I love it. I love being here. And that's why I keep coming back for more. That's why I keep sharing, because I genuinely like think anybody could do this. And I think there's probably more people today who need us. Everybody needs a side hustle.
Mhm.
So I want to be open. I want to share. I don't want to gatekeep any information, because there's so much good information.
And in terms of taking that first couple steps, really opening the account, getting going, what's that, the first 5 steps look like in making your first $1,000 in your opinion, or first $500 or whatever that number is? What's the next couple actionable steps?
Okay, let's see. So you have to sign up. I would say definitely sign up with a professional account. You're going to get more bang for your buck, and you want to sell over 40 products. So it just makes sense. And I don't know, what would be the next step? I think finding a great place to start would probably be shopping for what people are looking for right now, sourcing for what people are looking for. So instead of going into a store and standing there for hours, like, what am I going to buy? Trying to do research in a store, go into a store and think, what are people buying? Like right now, they're going to the Easter section, right? They want to dye eggs. They're maybe putting up their garden, putting up their pool. So those are great places to start. And instead of standing in an aisle and doing all the research, take pictures and go home and do research at home. If you are brand new, open Amazon and ask yourself why this would be a good product to sell, why you should sell it. And also list your products. I think is a big gap is people just like join all the courses and then never actually list a product. In the next week, we're going to come up to a great place in time where you can sell merchant, because all the FBA sellers on Easter are going to be selling out. So list your stuff merchant, and it's a kind of a great way to jump in. You can scale if you want, or just list 5 things. And when your product sells, what I always tell people is figure out why it sold. How did you beat your competition? And if it doesn't sell, figure out why it didn't sell. Why is your competition beating you? Because it really does help push the ball forward as far as understanding what listing to jump on. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
That was a good
Yeah,
clip.
yeah.
That last minute should go on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a good clip and a unique answer too. I think that makes a ton of sense too. Because
Yeah.
like thinking from a tactical perspective, like you can go check out some of that Easter stuff really quick and see the demand spiking on it too, and that with just FBM opportunity with that as well. So another question we like asking most of our guests as well. So what is like people from your pre-reselling life think of your reselling career now? Because it's always interesting that the varying answers with that and everything, because that's what a lot of people listening to this are worried about. What are people gonna think if I'm selling stuff online?
Yeah. And I was, like I said at the beginning, I was kind of embarrassed. I think sometimes you have to swallow your pride a little bit with this. I needed money, and now I don't have any problem saying that. Any place I can make money, I'm going to sell. But at that point, it was almost, I had to fight against what I was telling myself. my own pride that I needed extra income, that I needed to look for extra income seriously. But definitely I had a lot of naysayers. Like I said, nobody understood reselling. And I did get a lot of people like, isn't that stuff for people who need clothes? Like at Goodwill, like, why are you buying all this stuff? Isn't that for somebody who maybe doesn't have clothes? And a lot of questions, like nobody understood Amazon at all. And I don't think a lot of people in my life still understand Amazon. And I will say that I stopped trying to convince people. That's the other thing. Like it sounded like I was part of the mafia. When you try to have to over convince, you sound like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So I just stopped trying to convince people. You get it or you don't. Like it's really not that complicated. And after that, it was like, okay, now I have people who follow me and who like really get it and love it, but probably your first year, nobody's going to get it. And stop trying to convince everybody to get it. They don't want to get it. Just move on.
Yeah, that's why the online stuff's so important, because you can handpick who you get to talk to about this stuff and everything. And I think it's kind of ironic that I was the same way in terms of thinking about sharing stuff or even doing this in general. You kind of have to swallow your pride to start doing it. But in the sense, the most prideful thing you can do in life is learning new skills, is making new connections. And that's what this all allows you to do and everything. So I think there's a really positive light. And obviously we would all agree. That's what I think totally starting to share, allows you to do. And everything like that. And we were talking about off camera, like Garrett and I are hanging out later today, and we met, 2 years ago, just online. Like it's crazy what people do. And I also have just a ton of respect for people who are really out there, like their faces out there, they're talking to the camera, etc. Like that gives you such an advantage too on the playing field of making friends and everything like that. I saw you were at ASD last month, right?
I was, and I'm definitely, so I think for a couple years, I just put my head down and focus on selling. And that's it. I wasn't really active as much on social media. And then I kind of looked around and was like, oh my God, what am I? I'm kind of like, I'm on an island now by myself, which Amazon can really do to you because it takes over everything. And so this year has been about like connecting again with people, getting out, going to events. It was amazing. I would highly recommend going to ASD. Wholesale seems difficult because I think there's been several people who's told us wholesale was difficult, and it's not. And these vendors are more than willing to work with you, especially if you're on the coast. Why aren't you doing this? Because that's where they all live. Like it would be super cheap, but it's a great way to go and ask questions and see the product and meet these people in person. And it's a free event, which most events are not free. So especially if you're in Vegas, California, that area, you should definitely be going.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll be there in August as well. So you made
Nice.
over 2,000 posts on Instagram, and I've made over 1,000. So I consider that, where you made it over a couple years, legitimately impossible for your life to not drastically improve as a result of the connections you made online. And that's what you have to do, is you have to do so much where it's literally completely unreasonable for it not to work. Like level of action taken with reselling, like 1,000 listings in like a few months, you said, right, on eBay. Like that's a shitload of work. Like no wonder it worked. It would be pretty hard for it not to work, because like as you're doing that initial volume, you start to learn a lot quicker, and you start to learn some of that nuance that it might take someone else a few months, a few years to get if they were just doing it a lot slower and everything like that. So where can people find you online?
I'm CrazyFlippinMom on all platforms. If you love people who overshare way too much, I'm on YouTube. We have a podcast, Flippin' Amazon. We just started with a couple friends. We met online. And yeah, if you are interested in joining a beginner friendly, I will say, people who focus on online retail arbitrage, sourcing from places like Ollie's, Menards, Walmart, Walgreens, CrazyFlippinMom app. You can download it in the App Store too. But
you have an app?
Yeah, that's fire.
we have an app we created.
That's so fire. Cool. Okay, and then by the way, too, so what's the event this summer as well? We got to mention.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just having so much fun. I forgot. Like,
All
just
right, good.
sellerretreat.com. Go there.
That's clean. How'd you get that domain? Sellerretreat.com.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at it right now. Cool. Sweet.
My husband is a design graphic artist, so I married up.
Yeah.
Like for what I do, I married the right person for sure. He does all my graphics. You can take a look at my app. But yeah, so it is a retreat designed for online retail arbitrage sellers, e-commerce sellers. Really, we have amazing, and I want to plug that we have a panel of women coming. We also have men. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, and people will be like, it's Crazy Flippin' Mom. You have to be a mom. I just want to connect with people who are kind, who want to bring value, who want to learn. So that is what this retreat is for. We have people who sell retail arbitrage, like $2.5 million a year. And that is insane to do retail, like numbers on retail, not wholesale, right? So from that to people who do discontinued, and that's their like niche across platforms. So really centered towards maybe somebody getting started, somebody who's like, I don't want to make $5 million. I want to make side hustle money. This is a great retreat for you. Sellerretreat.com, go buy a ticket. We're announcing speakers soon. It's going to be amazing. We're gonna have a big party. There's Kansas City bins. I should say it's in Kansas City. When's the dates? June
Oh, so
7th.
it's coming up too. Yeah. Look at that.
Crazy flipping party.
There we go.
17th, 18th, 19th. I should know this.
Yeah, 16th to 18th. Yeah, here we go.
There we go. In Kansas City. So get a ticket. Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun.
Sweet. Cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Everyone go follow Emily on Instagram as well, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.